Joined now by the Raptors GM Bobby Webster. Bobby, it is great to see you, especially on such a big news day. So just to recap, the provincial government announced a soft reopening of pro sports facilities. Your team then sending out a press release saying that limited players can access the OVO Centre as of May 11th, one person at a time, just using the court. Do you see this happening right on that day?
Yeah, it's something that's been in the works, as you can imagine, for a number of weeks here. In order to get something like this approved, we've been in contact with the government and come up with a very strict protocol, and gone back and forth and revised and resent in our proposal. So we do feel comfortable where it is. Obviously, this is in conjunction with all of the public health and medical officers. We've also consulted internally with our own physicians and our own contacts within infectious disease. So we feel comfortable. I think that's part of why it's so limited in scope, that everyone feels comfortable with where we are. It doesn't, having said that, as we move forward, I'm sure we'll all learn, if we need to make tweaks here or there.
How many players are currently in Toronto that can start using the facility?
I think there's about half of them that are in Toronto. So I think all of those players, and probably makes most sense. As most people are aware, the group of players not in Toronto is, if they do come back, they'll have to adhere to the current quarantine guidelines. So, but it is of most benefit to the players here.
So for the players that are not in the country, what's the plan for them? Can they start training in the cities that they're currently residing in?
Yeah, as you can imagine, it's a case by case. So different players have different setups at their homes. So some players have baskets, some players have home gyms, other players do not. And so I think as everyone kind of thinks about what makes most sense for them to come back and go through the quarantine, or to stay where they are and continue training until there's a little bit more, schedule or news update as far as what's going to happen.
Now, is there a worry that other teams could have a competitive advantage if the players get earlier access to facilities?
As of right now, based on how limited the reopening is, I don't think it's a huge competitive advantage. I mean, if you kind of look through what we're doing, it's one player on the court. There can be one coach on the court, but they obviously need to practice physical distancing. And so, I'm not sure that as it is now, it's a huge competitive advantage. As things, potentially were to progress, that might be a different conversation.
Now, we know that Ontario has the second highest number of cases for provinces in Canada. Is there a concern there when reopening this facility?
Definitely, and that's why we're trying to be as thorough and thoughtful, and we're not the experts here, and we're talking daily with the people who are, and so it gave us some comfort that they were comfortable with where we've landed here. But as everyone knows, it changes day by day and week by week, and so as we go through this revised reopening or limited reopening, I'm sure we'll continue to learn and realize what's possible and what's not.
Bobby, really appreciate the time today.
Thanks. Good seeing you.